All right, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders. And look, this is such an exciting kind of time for Raiders fans as they look to develop for the future to figure out what direction they're going to go to. And right now, folks, we're coming to you from a hotel because that man across from me has a baby shower in a couple hours. But we think this news and talking football is so important, we're taking time away from our families to talk about it with you. With that in mind, let's get right into the report. This is according to Bleacher Report. Even though Josh Jacobs will miss his fourth straight game due to a quad injury, the Las Vegas Raiders running back is expected to be healthy by the time the NFL offseason begins. Per NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, Jacobs has been dealing with 2 deep bone contusions that have restricted his range of motion and prevented the Raiders' medical staff from clearing him to play. Pelissero added Jacobs has no structural damage and he will be, quote, fully healthy, unquote, before the start of free agency in March. All right, so here's the interesting development with an injury like this. When it first occurred, right, it didn't seem to be too serious, right? It felt like a minor injury, made him maybe sit him out for a week, maybe 2, especially if they were trying to make a potential postseason push, which the Raiders were at the time. But I think the Raiders did something very smart here. They essentially, in my opinion, shut down Jacobs. They said, listen, we could push you, we could try and get you back to play even faster. They said, no. We're not going to do that. We're going to essentially shut you down and give you an opportunity to be healthy for free agency. That way when Josh Jacobs can go out and get the biggest deal he can get for him personally, probably not with the Raiders. This is genius by Las Vegas because right now in the entire structure of the NFL, the Raiders for a long time under McDaniels had this sort of stigma about them where they weren't an ideal free agency destination. They weren't as well run of a franchise, mainly due to McDaniels and the issues he had leading a team as other programs. Now we're seeing the Raiders with how they treat their players being the ideal location for free agents to come to play for Las Vegas, and I think that's going to be huge for them going forward. Again, great long-term thinking here by the Raiders organization. Mice, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this issue, but first, Raiders fans, look, it's been obviously an interesting, weird, kind of crazy season. A lot of bright news for the future. Give me the one player for the Raiders this season that you were really excited about and you really want to see this guy develop and grow into 2024. So in the comment section below, give us the one Las Vegas Raider you want to see continue to grow and be a star for this team come future time. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this and just your whole vibe with the Raiders right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is really important, mainly because, like you said, they're trying to build a new culture, going into a new coaching staff. We don't know who it's going to be yet or, who it's not going to be. Could be Antonio Pierce. I hope it is. He seems to have done a good job. But with the Raiders doing all of these moves, especially keeping Josh Jacobs out, and allowing him to get healthy, allowing him to potentially be better for another team one day, I like you said, the goodwill that is built with Jacobs, with other veterans, that they take care of their players no matter what. They're not going to force anyone back from injury. They're going to let people get healthy and play the best football that they possibly can. I think this is a big, big move by the Raiders going into the free agency cycle, just showing, hey, this is a good place to play again, because he had to make a big move like this to undo a lot of the bad things that were done in the McDaniels eras and with some people in the Gruden era. With the cutting of guys like Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack, people still think about that kind of stuff all the time when Gruden would say things like, oh, I don't, really know who Khalil Mack was or whatever the case may be. So they're moving on from a lot of bad mistakes that were made and trying to build this goodwill going forward. And I think that's going to be big coming into the offseason, trying to get some good players onto this Raiders organization. More good players, might I add, because they already have a lot of great talent. They just need a couple of key upgrades. And I think they're going to be ready for prime time. And the coaching one is a big one. I think Antonio Pierce has made a big difference since he's come in. So I'm excited to see how this benefits the Raiders and what kind of moves they're going to make this offseason. I think he's going to make it an exciting one for the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, I agree 100% because, look, the Raiders have $50 million in cap space right now heading into 2024, according to overthecap.com. So they certainly have a lot of flexibility to make a number of additions, in free agency. But I just want to compare this against the stories out of Denver with how the Broncos have treated Russell Wilson and how they did him so dirty and how they wanted to bench him just because it would help him cut him in the offseason, things like that. That's not how you treat players. And right now the Broncos, according to all former executives and agents that I'm hearing in the media, whether it's on social media or in interviews with big networks, are saying this is going to destroy the Broncos' opportunity to get big-time free agents that want to sign big deals to Denver. Look at what the Raiders are doing, the exact opposite. They're treating Josh Jacobs perfectly. Because in terms of Josh Jacobs' earning power, if he plays, the final game or two to Las Vegas this season, that's not going to help him earn a whole bunch of money. The only thing he can do is hurt him, especially if he's a little banged up, which he obviously is. So again, Jacobs, I'm sure, definitely appreciates it. And his agent, Jacobs' agent, definitely appreciates it. And all these guys communicate, and they all, in terms of offseason, hey, where do we want to go? What's the best team to go to that will take care of me as a player, right? Because it's not so much the opportunity to sign the big deal on paper. It's how much of that money are you going to keep? Is the team going to look out for you? And the Raiders sent a big message to the rest of the NFL, all players, both incoming rookies, potentially for the future, veterans, agents, executives, you name it, that the Raiders, under this new leadership, are going to take care of their guys. And that's going to go a long way for allowing Las Vegas to use that $50 million of cap space effectively to build a more talented team. And Miles, look, we know this right now based on the structure of the AFC West. The Chiefs are down. The Chargers are a dumpster fire right now. The Broncos are going to have a lot of issues signing players. This is a lot more competitive division in 2024 and beyond than people think. And I think the Raiders are setting themselves in a prime position to take advantage of it.